with the time jumps, I think everybody has something to say about the time jumps. Maybe we can talk about this for a little bit. I feel the time jumping was done like not correctly is not the right word. I think it was done appropriately because they were able to, when they did a time jump, as long as you were paying attention, you were able to hear like how much of a time jump there was. They told you within those first couple minutes of, okay, they time jumped a couple years later, like 5-10 years, and then okay, it might have been like 6 months. Like they at least gave you like a quick like, okay, this is how far we've gone in the series since the last episode. Because the only one that I had trouble with at first was when they did, I think it was between episode 6 and 7 when they did the kid time jump. That was the one that was like, okay, these were like little kids in episode 6, and then they had the kids in 7, and they're like, now 15 and like 21, and they look totally different. I'm like, okay, well, who's this guy? The only one we obviously knew who was Amon, because he had the eye patch, so you can know who he was. But everybody else, I'm like, who the fuck are these guys? Like,
I have to agree with that because it was Amon was the obvious one with the eye patch. Like Aegon had no idea that he was Aegon because he,
me either. Totally different.
He didn't even look much older at all, really.
And I think that's with one of the things that, because Aemon looked older than Aegon, and I'm like, okay, well, isn't Aemon is he gonna be the one that's king? And when they were saying like, oh, it's Aegon, I'm like, well, how is he when he's younger? So that's what's throwing me off at first. I'm like, oh, okay, well, he just looks younger, but he's the oldest. It's one of those things where the younger brother, it looks older, but he's younger.
Right. Yeah, I tend to feel like they casted Aemon to look older because he's like the more battle savvy, stronger one. Like he's got Vhagar, he's got Vhagar, which is like one of the biggest dragons because he like claimed it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that the 10-year time jump was like okay when they switched over from young Alicent and young Rhaenyra to the older two, because like we already knew that was coming from the start of the show. We just didn't know exactly when.
And they gave us a preview of it in the previews the week before, so we knew there was a time jump coming.
Right.
So we were kind of prepared for it. But like you said, it was just different because it almost felt like you were starting the season over with a brand new person.
Yeah. Well, I think like you said, it's mostly the time jump with the younger kids in the middle to like the tail end of the season where they changed over and we weren't expecting that. And it's like, who the fuck is this guy? Right. So.
Exactly. Yeah. It was either episode 6 into 7 or 7 into 8. I think it was 6 into 7. But yeah, that was the more confusing time jump. But I mean, I know other people may feel that it might be different, but I thought they did it pretty good, that they gave us at least a explanation on how long the time jump was. I think they did a good explanation on it.
I'm pretty sure it was 8, 9, and 10 were when they changed over the younger ones a little bit, because they did the time jump in episode 8, and that's the end of episode 8 is where Viserys dies. So episodes 9 and 10 are not, they're in like real time, like they're not much further. There's no actual time jumps between 8 and 10 like that. Like